You want a laundromat because you want a cash flowing business. You understand that. Cash flow. Simply leasing a laundromat is a cash flow play. The moment you decide to buy the building, now you've got more factors. Is it good to have the building? Sure it is if you buy it right. Sure it is if it goes up in value and not down. I'm a lease negotiator. I'll talk to you about what you should or shouldn't or may not do, but I can't help you with swallowing the red or the blue pill.
So we talked to this guy months ago. He's trying to sell the building. He got an appraisal for just the building. And when we talked to him at the end of January, he dropped $45,000 off of that. He just wanted 600 grand for everything. He was going to walk away. In that call, you were trying to push him to do a lease, and he would just collect a rent check and go about his merry way. He said he'd think about it, but he didn't sound too interested.
It didn't do a goddamn thing. Nothing.
My real question for you before we give him a call is, because perhaps at this point, this is where we look into purchasing the building. And if I can get it for less than what we would be paying for in rent, it starts to make some sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have money, I can do a down payment. I'm I guess less clear on what I'm getting into, because with doing the lease, like the normal process, you can negotiate abatement, you can negotiate TI. With something like this, I don't get that opportunity, right? So
correct. Well, the only thing you can negotiate is your rate, right? And that they tell you that is set in stone by your credit, but that's not true. You can negotiate your rate by going to different banks, by pitting them against each other, et cetera. So the amount of your mortgage can change. But let's back up even further. You want a laundromat because you want a cash flowing business. You understand that. Cash flow.
Yes.
If you have $1 million home, your mortgage is $10,000 a month, and you can lease it for $12,000, your cash flow is $2,000 a month. Great. The ROI is eventually selling it for $2 million 20 years from now. Can't speak on that. Won't speak on everything else that business entails. It's a lot to it, right? Simply leasing a laundromat is a cash flow play. The moment you decide to buy the building, now you've got more factors. Is it good to have the building? Sure it is if you buy it right. Is it good to have the building? Sure it is if it goes up in value and not down, which both happen depending on where you are predominantly, right? There's a lot to think about. I'm a lease negotiator. I'll talk to you about what you should or shouldn't or may not do, but I can't help you with swallowing the red or the blue pill. My first question is, are there other tenants in this building?
No.
Okay. So you're looking at a standalone building for $600K, which is his asking price. How much would your mortgage be? That's the first question you need to answer.
Yeah, I talked to a couple banks and got different, they're different rates, different down payment, all that stuff.
So take the top of the rate structure and the bottom of the rate structure, and somewhere in the middle would likely be your payment. If that payment is more than you should be paying in rent, then you shouldn't even bother with it. Really, you shouldn't, because this is a cash flow play, and it needs to go back to that. You follow? I have my fingers in a lot of pies. I don't look at buying a machine gun, for instance, as the same as buying gold. They're both physical assets, right? But they have to be looked at differently. I don't look at buying a residential property the same as gold or a machine gun or a stock or a bond, right? There's all these different things that you need to look at, not only realistically differently, but emotionally differently sometimes, right? I can play with a machine gun. I can play with gold. It's not that much fun. I could make bullets out of gold. I mean, I could go crazy here. Only you can answer whether or not this makes sense for you. And the real bottom line is, what would your lease payment be? Because your lease is lower than a mortgage because the landlord is getting the benefit of what? The eventual ROI.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It should be. Sometimes it's not. But then, we're talking Beverly Hills where they're making money every month and cash flowing. Most landlords barely break even. And then what happens when someone moves out of that house? 6 months or a year without any incoming rent.
Right.
I always tell people, be very careful buying real estate. Be even more careful when your only tenant is you, right? Go figure out. I wouldn't even call this guy right now. Go figure out what your mortgage might be. And we're going to shave the price too. He's not going to get 600. Every day that ticks by, that 600 goes down.
Yeah, right.
Keep the faith.
I keep vacillating on this. I mean, you and I've been together now for 11 months, and we've hit a couple of landlords, and I'm anxious. There's a couple that were promising to me how I looked at them, but I lost out. I drive past them and find somebody else is in there now. It's turned over, and I missed it. We not for our lack of trying. We tried the landlords, but they never got back to us. So I'm getting kind of anxious, and I'm oscillating between the anxiousness of wanting to get something versus needing to be patient and do it the right way.
That's the first straight answer you've given me.
I know I've said this a lot. I don't know if I've ever said it to you personally. I'd rather see you never own a laundromat than do it wrong. Think about that.
Right.
So many people. You're never going to hear the stories about people that buy these places and get screwed because they're embarrassed. They don't want to tell that story. You were saying, I'm sorry.
No. You're right on track. And you have said that to me before when we were talking about this particular one. And it's funny, my son's in finance, and I was explaining it to him, like, hey, what do you think of this? And he says, well, your first option when you're leasing is you're just kind of skimming. You're taking the profits off of because everything else is just operating. You're getting at the lowest possible price. If you get into buying real estate, now you're in. You got a down payment you got in. You got all the liability, all the maintenance, all the everything associated with that building. And it's all on you, and it's all got to come out of the operation of the laundromat. I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. And again, I like to talk about physical assets because I'm a kid who came from nothing. Literally, my parents never had anything, still don't. And that's why I like these physical assets. So gold is $3,400 an ounce, and people are saying, oh my God, it's too expensive to buy right now. Well, why didn't you buy it when it was $400 an ounce? Because you felt it was too expensive to buy then. And then I'll watch a video from a YouTuber who's a gold guy, and he's like, this is a kilo of gold. It's $71,000 for this little piece of metal. I'm like, I'll take 10 at that price, because today it's over 100,000. It's funny, it's the same thing he's holding in his hand. But what you can't do is say, damn it, I'm gonna buy this gold tomorrow and hope it goes up. Well, you can't hope it goes up. You need to just, you're either in or you're out. It's something that you can't fathom. Neighbor buys a brand new vehicle, you can't afford one. Are you jealous? You just say, all right, I'm gonna get where he is. I'm gonna do what he's doing. I'm gonna do something better. And then eventually you're driving the car and you have to look at people looking at you differently with that look, like they're jealous now, and that's terrible. Hey man, you wanna borrow it anytime? Let me know. Oh, I hate this guy, he's so nice. I don't know if any of that makes any sense.
Hey, you're not supposed to be a cheerleader. You said that 100 times.
Yeah,
I appreciate the cheerleader speech. No, I do appreciate it.
I'm pretty sure this hot water heater's got a few more good years left in it.